Hello and welcome back to the channel for another Power of the Doctor themed video. First things first, the trailer for the story has now finally been released, and you can catch my trailer reaction and breakdown on the channel if you haven't already. But the trailer is not the only thing that's recently been released. We've also got a brand new poster for the special, which I have to say looks really nice. We did get a tiny glimpse of this on the leaked Doctor Who magazine cover the other day, because that issue, which is due to come out next week, comes with a poster of this poster. That's how I first saw the artwork, as that little grainy thumbnail on the magazine cover. And based on that, I wasn't a massive fan, I have to say. But now seeing it in its full high-res glory, yeah, I think it looks really nice. Kind of reminiscent of old posters, like the Day of the Doctor poster. It has that same sense of scale and of space and of epicness. So yeah, a massive fan of this poster. I think it's a really great way to mark this final episode for the 13th Doctor. We've also had the episode Synopsis revealed, which was teased to us unofficially by the website TV Zone. They managed to get hold of the synopsis before it was officially revealed and have been teasing various sentences from it. So if you have been keeping up with all that sort of stuff, you'll have a vague idea of what the synopsis entails, what it contains. But yeah, without further ado, let's have a look at it and break it down. In this feature-length special to mark her last adventure, Jodie Whittaker's 13th Doctor must fight for her very existence against her deadliest enemies, the Daleks, the Cybermen, and her arch-nemesis, the Master. Who is attacking a speeding bullet train on the edges of a distant galaxy? Why are seismologists going missing from 21st century Earth? Who is defacing some of history's most iconic paintings? Why is a Dalek trying to make contact with the Doctor? And just what hold does the mesmeric Rasputin have over Tsar Nicholas in 1916 Russia? The Doctor faces multiple threats and a battle to the death. So let's go through those sentences one by one, try and break them down and just work out what exactly is going on in this episode, because based on the synopsis there's going to be an awful lot of plot strands, hopefully coming together and converging. But they do seem to be very kind of disparate, very unconnected, very random plot threads, which could almost be different episodes in themselves. Which of course isn't unusual for Chris Chibnall's era of Doctor Who. It's kind of his signature style, really, to kind of throw everything apart from the kitchen sink at a story, all these different locations and time zones and characters and monsters, and just hope that something lands. So first of all, who is attacking a speeding bullet train on the edges of a distant galaxy? Well, this one's fairly obvious from what we've seen so far, because we've seen promo pics of the Cybermasters attacking said train. We've also seen images and clips of the Doctor and Yaz and Dan in their orange spacesuits sort of heading towards this train as well and breaking in through a panel on the roof by the look of things. And presumably they're going to sort of try and take down the Cybermaster threat. Perhaps they're responding to a distress call or something. I mean, it begs the question as to why the Cybermasters are there in the first place. Is there something on the train that they want? Maybe like a passenger, or maybe some of the cargo? Or maybe it's to do with where the train's heading, because it is like this sort of super fast bullet train, which is like on the edge of a distant galaxy. Perhaps they're wanting to sort of stow away on board because their own ships can't reach this destination, but this train can. Next up, we have these seismologists that have gone missing on 21st century Earth. So I think a dozen of them, based on that line from Kate in the trailer. The number could be significant, it could not, it's just impossible to tell at this stage. So there's a bit less to go off with this one, really. I mean, we have seen that shot of a volcano in the trailer, which could in turn be linked to all the stuff with the Daleks, who look to be underground in some sort of caves or something. You know, perhaps they're causing like the tectonic plates of Earth to like misalign or whatever, I don't know. And perhaps they or someone else, maybe the Master, has sort of captured these seismologists because they're the experts on volcanoes and earthquakes, and they would notice this sort of stuff. So if they've gone, presumably, then like the Earth authorities aren't going to notice, perhaps. Or at least they'd have no one to sort of advise them on a course of action to take. Regarding the paintings, again, this is a very interesting one. Not a lot of information to go off once again. I think we know there are 15 paintings that have gone missing, according again to that line from Kate in the trailer. It's interesting that here it says the paintings have been defaced, whereas in the trailer it says they've gone missing, so who knows what's going on there. But presumably this is the work of the Master to sort of catch the Doctor's attention, or indeed Ace and Tegan's attention, or Unit's attention. It wouldn't surprise me if that was literally the only function these paintings served in the plot, just to kind of get their attention, get them involved, get them in the plot, you know, get them noticing the Master's plan. Perhaps there's something about these paintings, some sort of hidden code which kind of leads to the coordinates of where the Master is for this rendezvous in the church-like building. But yeah, it just feels like a very sort of Moriarty type thing or Master type thing to do, really. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's literally all this is, but it could be a bigger plot element as well, I guess. Why is the Dalek trying to make contact with the Doctor? So again, this kind of relates to stuff we've seen in the trailer. We've seen that sort of hologram of a Dalek in the TARDIS, presumably kind of reaching through to the Doctor to give her some sort of message or warning. Perhaps it's just sort of there to gloat, to kind of inform the Doctor about this Dalek incursion, which she won't be able to stop. Or perhaps it's like a rebel Dalek, which is giving the Doctor this advance warning about the invasion in order to help her try and stop it. Finally, we come to Rasputin. So obviously, based on the images we've got of the Master in his Rasputin robes and with his, wig and his beard and all that sort of stuff, it's very clear to basically everyone by this point that he's going to be impersonating Rasputin in the special. Whether or not there is like a real Rasputin as well in the Doctor Who universe, or whether it's just going to be like revealed and explained that it was the Master all along, that's not entirely clear. But yeah, a very intriguing plot strand this. Not one that I think anyone could really have predicted. I mean, it seems very, very random, very, very unconnected from everything else that's going on here. I mean, clearly something's going to be made of this influence that Rasputin, or indeed the Master, has over Tsar Nicholas, who was the last emperor of Russia, according to Google. So, clearly there's going to be some sort of meddling monk-style antics going on there, I think, where the Master's trying to change the course of history to, well, I don't know. I mean, it kind of comes at a very strange time. There's a story about Russia, a historical about Russia, because clearly, with all the stuff that's going on with Russia at the moment in 2022, it's kind of a bit of a touchy subject, really. I mean, of course, this special was written and filmed before all that sort of stuff kicked off, so yeah, you would kind of think that there's not going to be any sort of crossover there, anything that could be sort of read the wrong way, if you like. I mean, does this mean that Tsar Nicholas is going to appear in the story as well? We're going to have like a sort of celebrity historical thing going on here? If so, they've kept that very quiet, and it'll be interesting to see who's playing him. I do wonder as well whether this particular plot thread could be linked to the paintings. Perhaps the Master goes back in time to the 19th century when some of these famous paintings are being painted and kind of messes around with them, leaves messages on them, whatever. It's interesting as well because one of the promo pics released alongside the synopsis shows the Doctor in that booth from both the trailers where she's got regeneration energy kind of coming out of her hands. And it gives us a better look at the room she's in that scene, which actually looks quite similar to a room that the Master is pictured in as Rasputin, with all these sort of curtains and banners and stuff. So quite how we get from, that starting point of the Master as Rasputin trying to influence, Russian history and politics and stuff, to the Cybemasters being there, the booth being there, the start of the regeneration, it would seem. Who knows how all that sort of stuff ties together. I'm sure in the episode itself it'll somehow make sense. But yeah, right now that does seem to be a bit of a stretch. Those are my thoughts on the synopsis, but what do you think? What do you think all these disparate elements mean, and how do you think they might connect to each other? I'd love to hear your thoughts and theories down in the comments below. If you have enjoyed this video, please do leave a like, and also subscribe to the channel if you're new for more Power of the Doctor content in the coming days and weeks. And if you'd like to go one step further, you can find the link to my Patreon page in the video description. But until the next one, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye for now.